Okay, it's Miss Welsh again, and we are working on building a new school. Now, I know how it's not fair that some of you are outside and it takes you like 15 minutes to go to the bathroom when you need to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water and stuff like that. So, one of our friends decided to suggest to us that we design a new school and we present it to the Board of Education. That sounds fabulous. So, we first have to think about what's the outside of our school going to look like. Then we should work our way inside to our school. Okay? Some of you will be doing just one room. Some of you will be doing a hallway. Some of you will be doing a whole floor. And for my really adventurous friends, you can do the entire school. Okay? So, the first thing we need to do is decide what's the outside of our school going to look like. Now, I want to keep it simple. That way, I do not have to think too much about, okay, do I have to have this angle, and is this room going to be slanted this way, and things like that. So I'm going to choose something simple, like a rectangle. Now, I have my paper here, and I have my trusty ruler here. And I'm going to start measuring where I would like everything to start at. Okay, so I don't want it to be on the edge of the paper. I want it slightly in so it has a little bit of a border. So I'm going to measure 1 inch in. So see how my little line's on the edge of the paper? Line the sides of the paper. Okay, because remember, our ruler is a measuring instrument. It's also a straight line maker. So, and then I'm going to line those 2 dots up, pressing really hard, and then go straight down like that. Okay? And then I'm going to do the other side. So let me get the rest of these papers out of the way so you can see a little bit better and things aren't skirting around a lot. Okay, so I line up the edge of my paper with that line. I put a mark. Oops, I did it the wrong way. And we can turn our rulers upside down to do this too. Okay? It's on the edge. Okay, so I want 1 inch in from the edge. 1 inch in. Okay, nice straight lines. But I want there to be like a little bit of a border between the top and the bottom too. So that way it looks a little bit nicer. So the top is going to be my roof. So how do you draw in 1 inch from the top is put your line down right on the edge. Put your little dot. Do the same thing on the top and the bottom of our paper. Okay, and we want to make sure we do it on top and bottom. Okay, that way. Now I'm not going to draw a full line going all the way across because then I'd have more stuff to erase. Okay, I'm just going to keep it between those first 2 lines I drew. Okay. And then I would go back and I would erase these extra lines. Now, a couple things you do need. You need to know how many floors you want your school to have. You need to know how many front doors you have. You have to have at least 2 front doors for this project. If you don't have 2 front doors, it's going to be really super duper difficult for you to do. Okay? So, I'm thinking let's measure how big it is between the top and bottom. Okay, so I have just over 7 inches. I could have 7 floors. So if I wanted to do that, I'm going to line up my line. See the little line? With this line now. And make little marks where each of the numbers are. Now, one reason I'm doing 7 floors is, 1, it's easy to measure by inch marks. And I'm just going to let my first floor be a little bit bigger than the rest of the floors. I could have just as easily done it so that my top floors has a little bit more. But if I were to sit there and figure out, okay, I have this many 30 seconds or 16ths or quarters of an inch added to each floor, it's going to be really, really difficult. So I rounded up. Okay, and now I'm going to connect. So while you're doing this, you can think about, what kinds of rooms do I want in my school? We know we're going to need a cafeteria. We know we're going to need a gym. We know we're going to need a media center. We know we're going to need an office. Okay, we know we need to have classrooms too. So think about your classrooms. Okay, are all the classrooms going to be the same? Are they going to be a little different? What could we do? Okay. So now I have 7 floors. Okay. Now I would like to put some doors in. Doors are super duper easy because they're just 3 straight lines. And I'm going to have them on my first floor right here. So I'm going to make my doors an inch big. So I'm lining up with the edge of the building. And I don't want the doors to be right on the edge of the building because that's a little difficult for the builders. Okay? I'm going to put one set of doors here. Let's see. I'm going to put one set of doors here. Because that way they'll both be an inch in from the ends. And I'm going to put one set of doors here. Now, from here to here is 1 inch, even though I did not put it on the whole inch mark. But a ½ inch plus a ½ inch equals 1 whole inch. So I'm going to repeat it, those measurements, right above. And apparently I did something wrong. Oh, yes, I did. I forgot we were doing it at the ½ inch, 4½ inch, 5½ inch, and then 8 and 9. Okay? Then I'd line it up and use my ruler as a straight edge to make the doors. Now, your doors should be on the ground floor. Okay? You should not have extra doors on the outside of your building on any of the other floors. Because how are you going to get from the top to the bottom? That is a very difficult thing to do. Okay, so now I have 1, 2, 3 doors. But if you remember the front of our school, each set of doors are 2 doors together. So we're going to measure at the ½ inch marks to divide those in half. So we went from a full inch to a ½ inch. And then I measure, or actually I don't measure, I use my ruler as the straight edge again. Okay. I would also put these little kind of open squares to signify that, hey, this is a door. Now, I can have everything be windows. If I wanted everything to be windows, I would simply add some more straight lines, but I would not put them at random. That would not be a good job, okay? Because a window can't really be a straight sheet of glass, because if it breaks, that's a lot of windows to, big piece of glass we have to fix, okay? I want you to make them maybe half the distance, okay? So I'm doing ½ inch measurements all along my ruler. So right where the number is, and then there's that long line like I showed you before. Okay. So I did it on that line. I'm going to also do it on that line. I missed one. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it sideways and just play connect the dots. Now, this is just windows. Okay? And personally, I like windows because it makes the whole area nice and bright, natural. However, when we get to the next couple floors, because remember, in our front hallway is pretty much windows, but our floors are not, because each classroom has to have somewhere for the heater to go, and the heater can't be right up next to a window. It needs to have some part of the wall for it to be against. So when we do walls, you're going to take your trusty ruler again. You're going to measure 1/2 inch between each floor. Okay? And you're going to draw a straight line. Again, I'm pressing really, really hard. Okay? Now, we need to show a difference between the windows and bricks. Alright? So I'm going to not measure because I know this would be very, very difficult and time consuming if you measured everything. But if you want to measure, you go right ahead. I will give you extra points. Okay? But I am using my ruler to make nice straight lines. Because if we look at the front of our building, there's lots and lots of bricks. Okay? Lots and lots of bricks. Okay? And then I would turn it sideways. This is going to help create a checkerboard pattern. Okay, so see, it looks like little individual units now. I'm actually starting to use some of my lines that I made below for the windows as a guide to make things go a little faster. Okay, and that's how you make bricks. And I would do that for each of the floors going all the way up to the roof. Okay, so now I have an area of bricks, but then I have this long, long window. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, because remember, like I said, that we have, if we have to replace a piece of glass, that's a lot of glass to replace. It's easier just to replace a smaller unit of glass than one piece of glass. So, I'm going to take out my handy dandy trusty rusty ruler. Oh, I almost used centimeters. We don't want to use centimeters. I'm going to flip it over to inches. Okay? And I'm going to, on this line, which is the line between floors, measure 1/2 inch increments. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a trick. Because if you did the first floor right, which is the ground floor, you can very easily do this next floor as well. Okay? So if all our windows are 1/2 inch apart, it should be really super duper easy to connect the lines. Just use the ruler line that you used before. Okay? See how much faster this is going than having to do every single little itty bitty measurement. Now I have you doing each floor one at a time. That way it's like, oh, you don't forget to put the bricks in, or it's like, okay, what floor am I on again? You know, I want you to have it nice and neat, okay? So now I have windows, okay? And I would just keep doing it like this till I go all the way up to the rooftop. So that'll help you out when you do the front of your building. Okay, you could have your as many floors or as little floors as you want. You could do yours differently than mine. Okay, so it gives you a lot of options on what to do. Okay, have a great day. I know you can do this. Sometimes a little bit more practice is really super duper helpful, but you can do it. I know you can. This is Miss Welsh. Bye bye.